let's go back to rewind, right? How I found out about you in Dago, right? You're in Dago doing work. Mm-hmm. At one point in time, do you leave out of California, and why?
I leave in 2018. And the reason I leave, frankly, is cost of living. Like it's, California is expensive, especially Dago. Like Dago's one of the most expensive areas.
Yeah, fact.
So I'm like, if I move down south, I'll have more bang for my buck. So the first place I land in 2018 is Dallas, Texas. I lived there for a year, and then in 2019 I moved to Atlanta.
Oh, okay. And how are things for you in Atlanta?
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. I wouldn't live no place else but Atlanta, man.
Because
it's like the opportunity that exists there, the accessibility that we have there, the amount of like just, black people pretty much run everything in Atlanta. In the majority of the main part of the city. Now, once you start venturing outside, it turns very southern and very white again, But as far as in that central Atlanta, it's black people everywhere having their way, owning large homes, doing their thing. And it's like like the world is small, whereas you're running into I can run into anybody on any given night, anywhere, any big name, etc., and be able to establish a relationship and things like that very easily. The type of women that are just abundant, things like that. Those are like the selling points for me. Like, and then even like my kids, they go to school. Everybody at their school is black and Mexican. Everybody, because I was living in East Point. Their school in East Point was probably like 70% black, 30% Mexican. You see what I'm saying? So, I like, them just being able to come up like that and just around our people and not have too much, because I went to white schools at different parts of my life, and I'll say that those are like the worst experiences for me, just based off of the type of racism and stuff like that I experienced. So a lot of people think, oh, send your kids to white schools, they're better, they're in better areas, they have better opportunity. But to me, from being a kid that spend a couple years there, I know that's not the case. So to me, I value my kids coming up around my people.
What forms of racism did you experience going to these white schools?
I mean, overt racism and just straight up racial slurs, things like that. Systemic in that faculty would administer harsher disciplinary actions on me than others. Like if I was in a situation with another kid, like a fight, like I had a fight with a kid in sixth grade. My parents had a bright idea to move to Newport Beach, right? And so we moved from Washington, boom, we in LA, and then we're in Orange County, right? And we get to Orange County, and I'm in Newport Beach, and it's like, it's mind blowing to me, right? Because this is like some total, like these kids surfing, like I don't know what the hell is going on, right? But I'm a kid going to school, trying to make friends, do my thing. So I start having this conflict with this one kid, this white boy, and he's talking shit, and we from the streets. So if a kid's talking shit, like I want to fight you, like that's how we handle business. But I know that there's rules at the school, like once you go home, you're no longer under the school's jurisdiction, right? Once you get home. So if a fight happens after you have reported to your house, you're good to go. You're not going to face consequences and repercussion from the school. So I wait outside this motherfucking house one day, right? He pull up on his bike. I put him to bed. His mother proceeded to try to run me over with a car.
Oh, shit.
She tried to run me down. And this was like one of the coldest experiences of my life. I'm 12 years old, and this white lady jumps out the car and starts screaming, help, while she's attacking me. And this is like later on I read about stuff and hear about like they'll do that where like the white girl who went viral recently, he grabbed my ass, and she was saying all that, I'm glad Trump is deporting y'all. That girl, Scott Storch's baby mom.
Oh, that's right.
With the valet.
Which ended up being just cap.
And she straight up admitted, I lied, he never groped me.
Yeah.
So, but this was my first
Emmett Till situation.
Exactly, like the Emmett Till situation. Yeah. So this is my first experience of like actually going through this where she's bouncing out a car and literally attacking a 12-year-old kid while screaming help. And because she's screaming help as a white lady, she automatically looks like I'm the aggressor. I'm trying to escape. So I get away. I get to my boy house. The police apparently is after me. I call my pops. My pops come and get me or whatever. And boom, my pop get me, boom, take me home. And then the police come to my house, and they come in my house, and this cop, this big old white boy, he's leaning over me, finger in my face, cursing me out. And my pop's like, hey, get the fuck out of my house. Puts him out. So at that point, I know, okay, there's clearly nothing you can arrest me for, because how did my dad just able to tell you, get the fuck out of my house, you ain't take me away in cuffs? And then what ends up happening, the next morning, we go to school. The principal's got me, my dad, this kid, his parents. And, they give him 1 day of punishment. They punish me for the rest of the school year. Mind you, what the straw that broke the camel's back to me for me going to his house and knocking him out was him telling me that his father can buy my father. So that's the whole reason I said, okay, he's finna get it. I'm handling this how we used to handle this, right? But they literally suspended him. They didn't even suspend him. They revoked our lunch privileges for the rest of the year, me, but him only 1 day. So that was a systemic example where here it is, we did the same. These are two kids who had a fight. Nothing. It's really not a big deal. Nobody went to the hospital. His ass went on the floor, went to sleep for a minute. He woke back up. He was fine. But I literally get my privileges of eating lunch and kicking it with my friends taken from me for the rest of the school year, which was months. And he only did for 1 day. So that was an example of the systemic aspect there versus just that. Now the kids used to do weak ass shit like go write my name is a nigger on the wall. They'll do stuff like that. I don't know who wrote that. Then there would be the ones who had the nuts would say it, and then I deal with them. And then there was the systemic aspect there.
Going back to about the white woman who was trying to run you over and then crying wolf, do you feel like that's a form of white privilege?
For sure. Because they are automatically assumed to be the innocent person in the situation.
A lot of white people would say white privilege doesn't exist. What do you got to say to that?
That's crazy. I'm going to tell you what's crazy. You know Tommy G. Tommy G went to the poorest county in America in Kentucky, all white people. And he asked those white people if they believe white privilege exists. You know what they said? These are the poorest people in the country. They said they know, as poor as they are, they still have privilege over black and brown people because they know that they can get away with things. They're not going to get profiled and even if they're poor, they know that they can get away with stuff because they're not going to be presumed to be criminals because they're white.